Welcome to Reach for the Top, the game in which some of the area's brightest students have an opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge. 24 teams originally entered into our preliminary elimination, and 8 teams have made it to the provincial finals. Now, let's meet today's contestants.
Representing the Martingrove Collegiate Institute area from Etobicoke, we have John Cho, Mark Castater, Ben Kasarevic, and Mike Milliton, and their coach, the illustrious Pat Beecham. Representing the Waterloo Collegiate Institute area from Waterloo, Raul Gangoli, John Thompson, John Toogood, and Michael Blake, and their coach, Helmut Erxleben. And I'm Mark Lade. Welcome to today's game. Welcome, panel. Let's get started with some quick questions. One of Belfast's trouble spots is Falls Road, which is predominantly Roman Catholic. What's the parallel road that's mainly Protestant in Belfast? Time's up. We were looking for Shankill Road. What actor was born Isur Danielevich in New York City? Mike. That's right. Right. Which European prime minister taught economics at York University from 1969 to 1974? Ben.
Chirac.
No, let's try Waterloo. Raul.
Helmut Kohl.
Andreas Papandreou of Greece. Laurie Skreslet was the first Canadian. Mark?
Everest.
You got it. And which is the Lone Star State? Mark?
Texas.
And that's for sure, Pilgrim. Our judge, Steve Officer. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Mark.
These two teams are both 8 for 2 at this point, aren't they?
Yes, both in the playdowns were 8 for 2. Martingrove is the Toronto winner of their school reach area, and Waterloo won the Kitchener-Waterloo-Guelph region. So and the answers have been coming quickly, so I suspect we're going to have a good game.
Hot game coming up right after a couple of important messages.
Relax and enjoy your camping trip with all the right equipment from John's War Surplus. They have the best selection of quality camping gear in the valley. Tents, sleeping bags.
How much you play, because some of your guests might get carried away.
Okay, fan, let's get going. The topic is transportation. Radio reporter Herbert Morrison died recently. He was the only reporter to witness what disaster at Lake Mark?
The Hindenburg disaster.
Right. On May 6, 1937. Who was the inventor of the first rigid airship? Mark?
Zeppelin.
Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin. Either of which 2 gases were used to give the Mark?
Helium.
Or?
Hydrogen.
Okie dokie. Ah, yes. On the popular music panel, your ears will help you with a clue here. Let's hear this particular piece.
Here's a little song I wrote.
Michael.
Bobby McFerrin.
Bobby McFerrin. Popular hit in 1988. Drove us nuts. All right, on to this particular recording. Won him several awards, including Best Song of the Year. At what annual awards? John Thompson.
The Grammy Awards.
Yes. Scramble for 5 points. What name is given to the imaginary zone in the sky that extends 8 degrees on either side of the ecliptic? John Toogood.
The tropics?
No. Etobicoke. We're looking for the zodiac. We're going to open it up. 10 points for correct answers. Dealing with the mythical signs in the sky through which the sun, moon, and planets move. Some of the zodiac signs take human form, but how many warm-blooded animals are in the zodiac? Ben.
3? No.
Waterloo. John Thompson.
2?
No. 4. Aries, Taurus, Leo, and Capricorn. What is the only inanimate sign in the zodiac? Mark.
Libra. Correct.
Name both of the signs that contain a pair. Ben.
Gemini and Sagittarius.
No.
Waterloo. Michael.
Gemini and Cancer?
No.
Gemini and Pisces. On to history. On February 15, 1965, Canada's new maple leaf flag was unfurled officially for the first time. Where in Ottawa did Mark?
The Parliament Buildings.
Correct. Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson was responsible for its adoption, but the flag was not welcomed by all Canadians. Some wanted the Union Jack retained. They called the Prime Minister's flag by his name and another word beginning with the letter P. What they called it? Mark?
The Pearson pageant.
No. Time's up. Waterloo.
Time.
Pennant, the Pearson pennant. As the flag was unfurled for the first time, the action was accompanied by a noisy military contribution. What was that? Ben.
Cannon?
No.
Waterloo, Raoul.
21-gun salute.
That's the one. All right. We've got Martingrove at 80, we've got Waterloo at 30, and we're going into the environment and chemistry. Name the gas, which is an allotropic modification of oxygen and occurs naturally. Hi, John Toogood.
Ozone?
The ozone layer is said to be at risk from the freons released into, Mark,
Chlorofluorocarbons.
No.
released into our atmosphere by aerosols and air conditioning materials. Name the three most common elements present in a freon molecule. Waterloo. Carbon, chlorine, fluorine. The greenhouse effect is also in the news frequently these days. What gas? John.
Carbon dioxide?
Correct.
Another greenhouse gas is methane. What's the formula? Ben.
CH4?
Correct.
Religious art. Take a look at the monitors for some help here. Let's have a look at the first piece. Who painted this dreamlike interpretation of the crucifixion? Mike.
Mark Chagall?
Correct.
That's right, crucifixion in yellow. Ah, the eagle eye of Mike Milliton picks one out. Chagall spent his formative years in Russia. Mike?
Russia, it's what I was going to say.
But what city became his base as an established painter? Waterloo. Michael?
Paris.
Correct.
Let's have a look. Here's another painting. Let's take a look at this one. What Spanish artist executed Mike?
Goya.
Executed this altar painting in Spain. Waterloo. Michael?
El Greco.
That's the one. The Virgin with St. Agnes and St. Thecla. What particular trait is characteristic of El Greco's depiction of the human figure? Mike?
Very elongated?
Exactly. Nicely done. Okay, Shakespeare's topic here, the plays of Shakespeare. In which play would I find the characters Sir Toby Belch and John Thompson?
Twelfth Night.
What were the names of King Lear's three daughters? Michael?
Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia.
One of the tragedies is set in Troy during the siege. Complete the title, Michael.
Troilus and Cressida.
You got it. You got the whole thing. One of our favorite topics, panel, cooking. The term French fry does not designate the nationality, but a method which originated in France. What does French fry mean, Mark?
Deep fried potatoes.
No.
Not necessarily. Waterloo. French fry. John Thompson.
To cook in oil?
No.
To cut into thin strips before cooking. Next time you're in the kitchen, just keep that in mind. A specialty of Chinese cuisine is a poultry entree consisting of several... John Thompson.
Peking duck?
Peking duck's what we're looking for. Its arrival is announced by a gong, traditionally. Limpa is a sweet and sour rye bread made with molasses or brown sugar and is native to which Scandinavian country? Limpa. John Thompson.
That's Sweden.
Yes, that's right. We'll stay up in that part of the world. Norse mythology is the topic. What's the name of the Norse goddess of love and beauty? John Toogood.
Frisia?
Name the god of battle.
Thor?
No.
Who gave his name to Tuesday, the god of battle. Waterloo. John Toogood.
Odin?
No.
Tyr. What day of the week is named for the... Michael.
Wednesday.
For the thunder god. Ben.
Thursday.
Thursday. You got it. People is the topic here. Which English clergyman was the inventor of the power loom? Michael.
Wycliffe.
No.
The power, and also power looming. Ben.
Beckett?
Edmund Cartwright. Which Serbian statesman and journalist was one of the founders? Ben.
Tito?
No.
Was the first prime minister of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes in 1918. Stojan Protic is that name. Write that down. We may need it later on. Okay. Which U.S. five-star general was commander-in-chief in the Pacific? Michael.
Douglas MacArthur.
World War II. We have a close game here. Waterloo's at 140, Martingrove at 120. On to biology. This term is the name for the transfer of pollen from the stamens of John Thompson.
Pollinization?
No.
Let me go through this now. From the stamens of a flower to the stigma of a flower of another plant of the same species. What's the term? Martingrove.
Cross-pollinization?
Cross-pollination. In mammals, this is the name for the opening at the upper end of the windpipe and between Ben.
Esophagus?
Between the vocal cords. Upper end of the windpipe between the vocal cords. John Toogood?
Larynx?
The glottis. This is the junction between the stomach and duodenum of vertebrates. Mike.
Pyloric valve?
Correct. That's right. Of all the Canadian provinces, which is the most northerly? Mark.
British Columbia.
No.
Quebec. Raoul.
Quebec.
You got it. Which mythical animal stands to the right on the armorial bearing? Michael.
The unicorn?
Correct. Name the floral emblem of Manitoba. Mark.
The prairie rose.
No.
Waterloo. The prairie crocus. Laval University is found in Mark Castater.
Quebec City.
Correct. If you're nominated for the Hertzberg Medal, what is your scientific specialization? Mike.
Physics.
Correct. Okay. With that, we've come to about we have a tie unofficially. We'll check on that while you look at these important messages. The assigned questions are right next.
Petawawa Civic Center Days. The excitement is back with an incredible...
This has been a pretty busy time so far, with it involving 24 teams so far, and Kimberly Dempsey has been hot and heavy into this also. Kimberly comes from, you got to help me with the name of the high school, Kimberly. Chincoosy High School in Brampton. Kimberly, what's been happening so far?
Well, this week we've had the honor of competing with, like you said, 23 other teams from across Ontario, and also we've had the privilege of making a lot of new friends, and also we've been looking at the sites around the university, which is also great.
Having a good time then?
Yeah,
Good.
and we wish luck to all of the 8 teams that have advanced.
Thank you, Kimberly Dempsey. Let me see if I got this right now. It's Chincoosy High School, Brampton. Can you say Chincoosy? Steve, where do we stand at the half?
Well, you were right, Mark. It is a tied score, 160 to 160. Early lead, but the Etobicoke team is Waterloo's caught up, so it looks anybody's game from this point.
On to the assigned question, wherein John and Raoul are pitted against one another for topics. The topic this time is African nations. Let's see how you do on African nations, guys. In which African nation is each of the following cities? Addis Ababa, Raoul.
Ethiopia.
Correct. Harare, Raoul.
Mozambique.
No.
John?
Zambia.
No.
Zimbabwe. Okay, Mark and John Thompson. Dar es Salaam, John.
Sudan.
No.
Mark?
Algeria.
No.
Tanzania. Lagos, John.
Nigeria.
All right. Ben Kasarevic, John Toogood. Cairo is Ben?
Correct.
Kinshasa, Ben.
Congo.
No.
Kinshasa, John Toogood. Zaire, it's in Zaire. Mike and Michael, Khartoum. Michael.
Sudan.
Correct.
Nairobi. Mike.
Kenya.
All right. Following questions have answers which begin with the letters E-N-T. Each one of the answers begins with E-N-T. What term describes the people who accompany an important person? Mark.
Entourage.
Correct.
What word means the main course of a meal? Mark.
Entree.
What is the scientific... Ben.
Entomology.
Correct.
Thank you, Karnak. All right. Current events under common law since the mid-17th century. An accused person has what right? Mark.
The right to remain silent.
Correct. The law was originally designed to protect suspects from being tortured, to extract confessions, and to protect uneducated people from... what, Mark?
Incriminating themselves.
Correct. The British government intends to limit the right of suspects to remain silent during interrogations of IRA and Sinn Féin members in Northern Ireland. They normally say nothing during interrogation anyway. Under the new rule, how could the court interpret their silence? Michael.
As a confession of guilt?
Correct. All right. A potpourri of mathematics, guys. What are the next 2 numbers in the following series? 3, 6, 12, 24. John.
32.
No.
Martingrove. Mark.
48, 96.
Correct. What's the distance from the origin to the point? 8? I'm sorry, I should give you the point here. Can we try that again? The point is 8:15. Okay, Ben? Time's up. Point 8:15. Waterloo.
Time.
17. Full fathom 5, thy father lies. How many feet down? Full fathom 5. John.
30.
Correct. I was... Here's a who am I question. First clue correctly answered will get your team 40 points. For 40 points, I was born in Hampshire, England in 1775. Who am I? For 40 points. I never married. After my father's death in 1806, the family moved to the city of Bath, where I continued to write. For 30 points, Michael.
Thomas Hardy.
No.
Martin Cove? Mike?
Chaucer.
No.
My best known and most admired works are my novels, which include... Mark?
No.
Which include Northanger Abbey, Persuasion, and Emma. All are romances in which the heroines eventually achieve happiness. Waterloo for 20 points. Who am I? My best known novel, Pride, Mike.
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen, 10 points. Got Martingrove at 250, Waterloo 210. Classical music. Your ears will help you with clues here. Selections of British music. Wait for the question. Here's number 1. John Thompson.
Pomp and Circumstance, written by Elgar.
Correct. That's what we're looking for. Let's hear the second piece. This is the overture from the Gilbert and Sullivan operetta set amidst the pageantry of the Tower of London. Identify the operetta. John.
Brigadoon.
No.
Michael Blake.
The Yeoman of the Guard.
That's right. Which Gilbert and Sullivan operetta is set in Japan? Mark.
Madame Butterfly.
No.
Michael.
The Mikado.
That's oh, Mikado. Word puzzles. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning family name of actress, Thin Man's wife, to create a second word meaning to verify by an excess of food, sweetness, or pleasure? To weary, not verify. To weary.
P.
No.
No. What letter are we looking for here, Martingrove?
S.
No.
C. You add C to loy and you get cloy. Got the idea? Let's try another one. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning paramour to create a second word meaning any? John.
C.
C. You add C to lover and you get clover. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning a small quantity or portion to create a second word meaning to spring back? John.
Up.
No. To spring back from a surface in a lively manner. What letter are we looking for here, Martingrove? Mark.
B.
B. You add B to ounce, and you get a bounce. Canadiana. 20th century decade is what we're looking for here. We'd like you to identify the 20th century decade in which the following events occurred in Western Canada. The Saskatchewan NDP introduced Mark.
1970s.
No.
The first Medicare plan was introduced.
1960s.
Yes, 1962 to be specific. The discovery of the Leduc oil field, Rahul.
1950s.
No.
Martingrove, Mark.
The 1920s.
40s, 47 to be specific. Canadians of Japanese descent are moved inland, Rahul.
The 40s.
Correct.
Peter Lougheed. Rahul.
The 70s.
No.
Peter Lougheed retires as Premier of Ben.
80s.
Correct.
1985. Okay, 280 for Martingrove, 260 for Waterloo. What navigator was the first to sail around the world beginning, Michael?
Sir Thomas Drake.
No.
Beginning in December 1577, returning to his native soil 4 years later, Martingrove. Ben.
Francis Drake.
Francis Drake. In 1959, this man was elected the first president of Cyprus. Who was this man? Archbishop Makarios. For approximately 30 years, he was a double agent for the Soviet Union. Mike.
Philby.
Correct.
Kim Philby. For 10 points, add a single letter to the Latin word anima, which means breath, to create a noun, which means John.
L.
Correct. Yeah, animals, what we're looking for. They get tougher. Concerning animals, can you give the common Swahili word for lion? Mark.
Bwana.
No.
No. Nice try. Waterloo. John Thompson.
Leo.
No.
Simba. In movie legend, Nanook stands for, Mark?
Polar bear.
Correct.
The skin of what animal is called the Hudson Bay seal? Mark.
Sorry.
Hudson seal is what it's called by the furriers. What is it really? Michael.
Beaver.
No.
Muskrat. We got a two-parter here?
Scramble.
This is scramble. Okay, let's scramble for this. For 5 points, name of a large Pacific island is also the name of the type of prehistoric man who lived more than 1 million. Mark.
New Guinea.
1,200,000 to less than 500,000 years ago. What's the name of the man? Waterloo. John.
Cro-Magnon?
No.
Java man. Speaking of Java man, what was the name of the early human species that Java man belonged to? Ben.
Neanderthal?
No.
Michael.
Cro-Magnon.
Homo erectus. What was the name? Oh, got no time for that. We got to get on to some quick questions to close things off here. What do you call a native of Brittany? Mark.
Brighton.
No.
Waterloo. Michael.
A Breton.
Correct.
Name the mast nearest to the bow of a sailing ship. Mark.
The mainmast.
No.
Michael.
The mizzenmast.
The foremast. What is the scientific study of the skin and its diseases? Michael.
Dermatology.
Who was the first French explorer of Canada? Mark.
Champlain.
No.
Waterloo. Jacques Cartier. Which river in northeast Italy was the ancient boundary between Mike?
Po?
No.
Between Gaul and Italy? Waterloo. Rahul.
Turin.
The Rubicon. Which German-born composer created works which include The Messiah? John.
Handel.
What term describes the common daily speech of a country or district? Common daily speech, Mike.
Patois?
No.
Dialect.
Rahul.
Dialect?
No.
Vernacular. Name the larva stage of a butterfly or moth. Mark.
Caterpillar.
Correct.
On which granite boulder located in New England are the Pilgrim Fathers John Thompson?
Plymouth Rock.
Which canal in northern Scotland links the North Sea with the Atlantic Ocean? Rahul.
Tyne.
No.
Etobicoke. The
No.
Caledon Canal. What do we call the art of good eating and drinking? Michael.
Gourmet.
No.
Martingrove. Mark.
Epicureanism.
No.
Gastronomy. Which Austrian designer of cars was responsible for the John Thompson?
Porsche.
Correct.
Name the upper house of Parliament in the Republic of Michael.
The House of Lords.
The Republic of Ireland. Martingrove. Mike.
Senate.
Correct.
Or Shanad. What is the capital of Denmark? Mark.
Copenhagen.
This actress was a winner in the 5th Annual Soap Opera Award for her role in Not Landing. Ben. Time. What? Okay. Donna Mills squeaked in. We'll be right back. Kept you hopping.
Well, after having an early lead, Etobicoke lost it to Waterloo. Waterloo took the lead, and then Etobicoke had to fight back to win the game, 360 to 310.
Wow, we will have another really good game next week, too. Next week, Westdale Secondary School from Hamilton takes on the North American champions, Earl Haig Collegiate from Thornhill. We'll see you then on Reach for the Top.
This is CHROT.